I think the general consensus is that when you're freelance, you're always switched on, you're always working. I disagree with that. I only work about 20 hours a week, and the rest of the time I spend with my family or doing fun shit. If you make 5K a month, but you're working 70, 80-hour weeks, then you are essentially earning minimum wage, my friend. And fuck that. That's not why you wanted to become your own boss. I make what I consider to be a good full-time wage on part-time hours. And I do that because I ruthlessly optimize my business. So if you want your time back, I'm going to show you how I do it. Let's go. A lot of freelance filmmakers will spend their time waiting for the phone to ring. And during that time, they can be updating their website or posting BTS stuff on Instagram or whatever. That works. Once you get known, the phone will ring, but it's also a passive approach. And if you want to work 20 hours a week, then you can't afford to be passive. You need an engine that works for you, finding new jobs. Every Monday morning, I will sit down with a coffee and I will spend time on outreach, finding clients. Now, I've got a whole other videos on my channel that go into in more detail how I actually do that, but essentially, I find the people that I want to work with. Some people might not enjoy this part of the job, but I love it. If you're sitting there anxiously worrying about when your next job's going to come and who it's going to be with, ask yourself this. Do the businesses and companies out there who need video content know that you exist and that you're willing to do it and that you are a solution to their problems? Because if they don't, then you need to do something about that. And remember, this isn't just spamming, this isn't just sales calls. This is choosing who you work with, choosing what goes on your show reel, choosing what you spend your time doing. That is hugely, hugely valuable. And people who have normal jobs, they don't get to do that. That's one of the great perks of being self-employed. Let's talk about the thing that freaks a lot of people out, pricing. If you need 4K to survive per month and you charge $400 or pounds or whatever per video, you're going to have to make 10 videos a month. That's finding 10 clients, shooting and editing and delivering 10 pieces of work, doing revisions on 10 pieces of work. You are not going to be able to make that work your best work. You are delivering a budget service. But if you charge 2K or even 4K per project, then you only need 1 or 2 clients a month. And not only that, you now have the time and the energy and the focus to make sure that the product that you are supplying is high quality. It's a premium product. This isn't about greed, it's capacity. You cannot do your best work when you're slammed every day. Also, you will do your best work when your client starts to treat you like a partner. And they're not going to do that if you're charging $200 per video or whatever. The moment that I raised my rates, 2 things happened. The hours that I had to work went down and the quality of my clients went up. And let me tell you this, those cheap clients who you do cheap jobs for, they are always the most demanding. There's something about when you give a client a discount or you let them haggle you down and it's starting to already feel like a mistake, but you do it because you want the work. You'll soon find that as soon as that conversation about money is over, they forget that. And they are the client who's paid the money and they want the full premium service from you. And before you know it, you're doing 10 rounds of revisions and you're calculating how much you're actually making from this job and crying yourself to sleep. So you've got the client, what do you do next? Well, now you've got to do the job. Now, the shoot is one thing, because we're usually there with the client, we've got a certain amount of stuff that we need to shoot. That's fine. A shoot day is a shoot day. But where I really find that I can buy back my time is in the edit, sitting right here. And I have developed a load of systems that allow me to really take advantage of the fact that this is private time for me. I never edit with a client here. Sometimes they can come in and watch cuts and we can finalize something together. That's another way to make sure that it streamlines. But more often than not, I'm sitting here on my own. And so quite often I'll have 4 days build and put down for an edit, and I could get that edit done in 2 days. Now, you might be thinking, that's a little bit dishonest. I mean, you're charging 4 days, but you're only doing it in 2 days. No. I'm not here to penalize myself for the fact that I am experienced, I have lots of robust workflows in place. I can edit really quickly because I have a very fast computer. I edit off a very fast drive, which has a very fast cable, which goes into the fastest USB slot on my computer. I use the fastest SD card so that I can offload from my camera quickly. I use the codec that runs the smoothest on my computer. All of this stuff has been worked out by me. It's been optimized to allow me to spend the most time focusing on the actual content of the edit. So these are all like little systems that I use. I've got LUTs that I use that work with my specific camera. I've got presets that I use for all the audio. I've got a preset for my lav mics. I've got a preset for my shotgun mics. Just everything that I can just drag and drop on, which gets me to a certain standard, so that all of that shit is taken out of the process and actually I can just focus on the content. That means that I can half the time that I edit something and still get the same results. When you're setting up your edit system, for instance, and I'm going to go over all this stuff on my channel as well and in my course that's coming up, I think it was a game changer for me when I started to optimize my edit system so that it worked just like that. It's some of the best money that you can spend on your kit. So that's my recommendation for that. That's how I would say you can buy back more time. Not so much in the shoot, but in the edit. And if you can systemize the way that you work in your edit, you're going to find that you're going to be able to work a lot less hours in a week and still be able to put out the same amount of work. Boundaries are very important in work and, of course, in life, in every element of life, right? In my business, in my career, I have some boundaries that I've set which are kind of like a little recipe for success. So first of all, I don't converse with clients at 9 o'clock on a Tuesday night. I'm not interested in that. If I've made a mistake and this film is going live at 8 o'clock the next morning and I've spelt the CEO's name wrong or something like that, then yes, of course. But if the client's just decided that actually they would like that to be in blue instead of green or something like that, that's fine. I'll see that when I get in the next morning. I'll look at the message on my phone and I'll just say, nah, not engaging. And this might sound harsh. And when I was starting out, I was pretty desperate and I used to say like, yeah, of course, I'll do that. I'll do anything. I quite quickly learned that is not the way to go. The thing is, clients will respect you more because you're a professional and you work professional hours. When I ignore my clients' calls at 9 o'clock on a Tuesday night, I like to think that after they have an initial bit of annoyance at me, they take a step back and they think to themselves, well, of course he's not replying. It's 9 o'clock on a Tuesday night. What am I doing sending him messages or calling him at this time? I'll tell you what, I'll pick this back up during office hours. I just think that that's a better way to work. And by the way, you don't have to put in your auto signature, I work between the hours of so-and-so. You don't have to do that. Just ignore it. Just ignore it. You're the boss, remember? You don't have to do it. A couple of other boundaries that I've set personally for myself. This might not apply to anyone else, but I don't work in events or I don't shoot conferences, and I sure as fuck don't shoot weddings. And the reason is I don't enjoy that shit. I just don't enjoy it. People talk a lot online about how videography, my favorite fucking word, videography has become really dull. I was shooting this conference and of course it's dull, mate. You're shooting a conference. You have to stay there all day and shoot people all sitting around listening to people talking and drinking coffees and shit like that. It's just dull. I'm not interested. Weddings, hate them. Never been good at them. Never been good at all this event shit, corporate, like away days or fucking nightclub nights. I'm not going to shoot at fucking 10 o'clock at night till 1 in the morning. No way. Just not doing it. Not interested. Unless you've got fucking $5,000 for the night. I'm not interested. You can set your own boundaries. You don't have to choose mine. You might like doing that kind of stuff. That's great. But what I will say is, set the tone when it comes to answering messages at the weekend and all that. Because if you want to work 20 hours a week, you need to really value the time that you are not working. Otherwise, those hours just start to creep up. And then what's the point? So that brings me to the final step of this whole system. If you want to work 20 hours a week and have the rest of that time off to do other stuff, you don't want to be freaking out that you haven't got enough work in that 20 hours a week. And if you start the month, you have no bookings and you have no idea how you're going to make money that month, it's quite easy to start getting stressed, and it's definitely a good way to kill that 20 hours a week workflow. And so the best way to combat that, for me, the way that I've found and I've discovered, is that you need to start booking clients that are continuous. Now, I used to have regular clients, I still do, and they would be the ones who I relied on. And they're great. I love my main client of all time. I absolutely love working for them. But a couple of years ago, I was very reliant on the income that was coming from them. And I'm really pleased that I did this. I stopped myself and I said, imagine if this stopped tomorrow. So I started to think, how can I get myself consistency? And the best way to do that is to start thinking about how you pitch to the client and start thinking about how you can offer them an ongoing solution. And we call it a retainer. It's when a client basically guarantees a monthly payment to you, which they can cancel anytime, but all being well, the agreement will be that every month they will pay you X amount of money in return for X amount of deliverables. When I first heard about this, I thought that this sounded a bit far-fetched. Like, who's going to want to pay like $1,500 or $2K or $3K a month? But once I started to realize that the right clients who need consistency and need that problem solved so that they don't have to deal with it internally, they don't want to splurge on hiring a new person and giving them a salary, onboarding them, all the shit that comes along with that. If you can just float in and be an external operator who they trust, and you can deliver them something every month and make it appealing to them in the way that you lay it all out, if you can secure a couple of them a month, then you will soon find yourself thinking that you have hit the jackpot. It is a great feeling, and once you start doing that, you stop accepting anything less. So every client that I now book in with and I have a conversation with, I explore this option. And they're not always right, it's not always right for everyone, but it is for a lot of people. They just don't know it. And if you can offer them a menu of A, B, and C, it will make their decision easier. If you have a regular client, you create content with them every month, you know all their brand guidelines and the typefaces that they use and the brand colors, and you have a bank of footage and assets, that just streamlines every edit you make, which means that every time you go in to do an edit for them, it becomes faster and faster and faster because you've built this bank of assets. You can tie into the budget your very own NAS server, which just stores all of their stuff, and you can edit directly from that. That is the beauty of it, and that is how we do our streamlined systems like we talked about earlier. When you are actually editing, you're editing a lot less. If you want to move forward and be comfortable and relaxed at the start of every month, then this is the way to go. Once I did it, I never looked back. So that's it. And it sounds simple, and it is simple, really. It's just 5 steps. Proactive outreach to find your clients, higher rates to lower the volume, systems in there that protect your hourly rate, hard boundaries that protect your sanity, and of course, if you can get yourself some retainers, they protect your future. And look, it took me quite a while to hone this system, but once I did, I realized that you don't actually have to choose between good money and a good life. You can have both, and you can do it whilst doing a job that you love on your own terms. And I think that that is one of the most valuable things that I have in my life, which is why I'm here sharing it with you. All right. I hope you found it helpful. If you've got a small business and you're starting out in 2026, or you're trying to buy back a bit of your time in your business in 2026, try and implement some or all of these systems that I've just laid out for you. I also teach a lot of this stuff in the new course that I'm producing, and there'll be a link in the description. If you hit that, you'll join the email list. I'll send you some helpful shit on the way, and when the course is ready, I'll send you an invite for a very discounted rate. You can be a founding member. How about that? Anyway, thank you very much for your time. I'm not going to waste any more of it. See you later.